Right, question 2. So question 2 here has a scenario about with Mrs. Anderson's water and electricity usage. And the first thing that they're wanting us to do is to check the total cost of her water bill for the month of December. So we're going to go to our table. We need to do a total of 23,2 kiloliters of water. And we know this is a step tariff or a sliding scale. So we need to do each of the levels separately until we get to our total of 23,2 kiloliters. So the first one is quite easy. It's 0 to 42. 0 to 4,2. So we're just going to go, what is 4,2 times by 1903? And if you get it, you would get to 79,926. Okay, I'm not rounding yet. I'm still going. The next one here, I'm going to find out how much this is by going 7,35 minus 4,2. So this is 7,35 minus 4,2, and I'm going to get to 3,15. 3,15 kiloliters times by 25 rand per kiloliter, and it gives me 78,813. Then the last one, because now in the next bracket I don't want to go too high. I'm not going to use all 24 kiloliters because we know I've only used 23. So I'm going to say, well, what is 23,3 minus the end of the previous bracket, minus the 7,35. Okay, that's how I work out how much is in this bracket. So if I subtract them, sorry, 23,2, not 3, 23,2 minus that, and then I get to 15,85. So 15,85 times by 34.92, and if I multiply that together, I'm going to get to 553,482. And then I don't need anything in that last bracket because I've used less than 24 kiloliters. So all I need to do is add those three together. And when you add them together, you get 712,22. And that is the cost of her water. Right. Next we have 2.2, where we have her electricity meter reading. They tell us there what it was before her purchase and what it was after her purchase. So we want to know how much she paid for the electricity. So first things first is we need to establish how many units did she pay for. So she had, let's find a space here, we had 371 after, 371,2, and before we take off the ones that weren't from that current payment, and we're going to get to 347,8 units of electricity. So this is kilowatt hours, right, per unit. Now we can go to our sliding scale. We have 3 different levels. We're quite lucky because this only falls into the first level. It's not more than 350. So all we're going to need to do to work out how much she paid for it was to say, well, we have 2 rand, 0.0579 per unit. We're going to multiply that by 347,8 units. And we will see she paid 715 rand and 74 cents. And that would have given us her electricity usage. And you can see here, they actually wanted us to verify if it is correct, or to show that it is correct. So notice there's a difference in the wording of the question, which changes what you need to do. This question specifically says use the information to show that her entered value of this is correct. And that is correct becomes important because it means we're not actually verifying, we're not checking it. We know that's the value. We just need to show how they got it. So that tells you also if you don't get to that value, you need to reevaluate and you need to see what you've done because you should get to that value that is the correct value. And then finally they say hence determine the missing value of D. D was on the income and expenditure statement. It was the balance at the end of the month. And it would make sense that the balance at the end of the month would be saying your income minus your expenses. So income we already have. We have 21,200. Right, I'm getting that from my table over there. And then the expenses I need to subtract are going to be basically all of these expenses in the side of the table. So we have the 16,624 already. It's over there. So that we can just take off as a set amount. There's nothing to change. There's no need to do anything here. We just take the total. 624. And then we're also going to need to take off our variable expense. Our variable expense, we don't have a total because we were missing our water and refuge. So it's up to you whether you're going to write out and say, okay, minus 300 minus 420, or first get to our subtotal. Okay, so for the sake of ease, let's just get to our little subtotal over here. I'm going to add in that water amount that we had of 712.22. Total it all up. I'm going to get to 8887.96. That's my variable expenses. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to also subtract it from the total income here as well. The 8887.96. And when you subtract all of that, you should get to 4311.96. And that is then going to be your missing value of D.